Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that'll help you become your best self, and today we are talking about 5 types of sneaky negativity. Be aware of what controls you. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on Instagram and on TikTok. I'm at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. I'd love for us to get to know each other, DMs, follows, just hanging out and talking, and let me know if you have any feedback or anything that you'd like to share from me, or you have an idea for a podcast topic. Speaking of that, if you also look into the show notes, you will see that there is an anonymous survey where you can submit a podcast topic if you would like to not tell me directly, because you can also send me an email at realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. But if you prefer not to tell me on socials or email, you can submit it through that anonymous survey down there as well. You can also sign up for the weekly newsletter that comes out every Monday. You can also sign up for the Facebook community group. There's all kinds of things down there. Go ahead and check it all out. But let's go ahead and jump into today's episode, which again is 5 types of sneaky negativity. Every now and then, I like to share with you all short lists of emotions and behaviors that we most likely have already talked about in the past, individually on their own, but that need to be reminded of because it's important to stay vigilant. I definitely was I have been having the best time using that word because it's a good word to describe that we need to stay vigilant when dealing with emotions and behaviors that can sneak in and start to control you, because you don't even realize that it's happening when these things are just creeping up, sneaking up, just kind of getting in there and kind of get a chokehold on you, and you don't even realize, oh my gosh, this thing is really becoming a bear, becoming this burden that I didn't even realize was causing you so many issues. So, plus, when you see things together in a list, you can better understand how these things are related and where they can show up in your life. And you're like, oh, right, okay, these things go together. I should be aware of these things. And they're not just these random one-off things, which talking about those topics are very helpful. But sometimes when you see things together, you're like, oh, okay, this can influence this, and this can be the same as this, and how things cross over. It can be really helpful. So I promise that this episode is not a cop-out. It will actually be very helpful. So I would say that negativity can show up just about anywhere if you allow the mindset or behavior to lean too much into being a crutch or something that you depend on too much or use as an excuse in your life. So things like even positivity can become toxic if you use it to pretend anything negative doesn't exist or doesn't need to be acknowledged in your life because you have to be positive all the time, or use it to shame others into believing they can't fully honor and experience their emotions, and they have to just be like, oh, it's okay if the most terrible thing has happened to you in your life right now, let's just be positive. It can be so toxic. So really anything can kind of lean into negativity. So that's a good way for you to be aware and stay vigilant of what could actually happen. It's just good to be aware. It's just good to be oh, okay, this thing could happen. Okay, so let's just stay on top of it. Okay, anyway, vigilant. It's such a good word. It's our podcast word of the day, vigilant. Okay, so today we are going to talk about 5 types of sneaky negativity that can creep into your life and try to control you and your emotions, which this sounds really dark and this creepy thing, and it kind of is. It kind of is a creepy thing. I feel like we can get wrapped up in negativity and not even realize it. We won't even realize that we are having it's having a hold on our life, which is part of the reason why I was oh, yep, we need to talk about this. Let's compile a list together. So again, we have 5. Let's go ahead and jump right in. The first one is judgment of others and yourself. So we can think that we're just living our lives, living our darn lives, and think that, oh, if there's a little bit of judgment of someone else, a lot of judgment of ourselves, it's no big deal. But actually, being judgmental means you're only focusing on the negative things in life. You want to nitpick other people and nitpick yourself and think that, oh, you're really just doing the work of trying to figure out how things can get better and how things could be like quote unquote more perfect, even though we know that perfection doesn't exist. But, we just think that by doing all this nitpicking and judgmental things will be helpful. And really, it's super negative. You're also using this as an excuse to not focus on what you actually need to work on and deal with in your life, and the things that actually to the core of the root causes of these negative feelings of what needs to be done with. So whether you're dealing with like a lot of fear, insecurities, pain, emotional pain, and experiences that have happened to you in the past. And you think you can tell others how they fix themselves, or just have to be negative about yourself, possibly with a pity party. Sometimes people do it, sometimes they don't, just depends. But still, you're going to want to be negative about yourself without having any action towards actually fixing anything or problem solving the situation, because all you want to do is point out the negative and then assume that by pointing out the negative in yourself and being judgmental towards yourself and others, that it'll just fix itself because now it's like been exposed and out in the world, when that's not how it works. You can expose everything, but it doesn't mean that that's going to automatically create some magic fix or problem solving idea that's going to attack it and figure it out. Like, it's not a thing. So judgment of yourself and others, definitely a sneaky negativity that we need to be aware of and on top of. Okay, number 2 is self-doubt. I personally struggle from self-doubt, more so leaning towards comparison. Like, I end up doubting myself because I have a hard time with allowing myself to compare myself to other people, thinking, yeah, that's what I need to do to feel better about myself. In reality, it's not. But yeah, self-doubt. So this holds you back from believing that you are capable of trying new things, which being afraid to try new things gets in the way of taking the action needed to try the new thing. So that's like kind of a double whammy there. It also stepping outside of your comfort zone. That's definitely a no-go when you are struggling with self-doubt, and seeing outside of your own perspective of possibilities, even fathoming that, yeah, I could interview for this job, or I could even apply for this job, or I could even talk to this person and get more information, or I can ask this person out on a date, right? Or I could pull off this outfit, or I can even be considered for a job promotion, or that I would even be a good girlfriend, a good mother, a good wife, a good friend, like all of this stuff. And so self-doubt can really eat you up if you are not on top of it, if you are not realizing that that is what is being really turned up and fleshed out in you, where you're saying no, I could never possibly do that. And you kind of come up with an excuse of you've never done that before, or you've never learned that, or you don't need to do that because that's not who you are, or that's not your place or your purpose, or whatever BS excuse, just to be real, that you're trying to come up with. Honestly, there's going to be so many things in our lives that we have to step out of our comfort zone. And honestly, God prepares us to do those things, and we can't just live in fear and self-doubt that we can't do it. We've been prepared with the ability to try those things. And even if you are able to overcome, I don't like to use the word overcome, but you know what I mean, push through self-doubt, then you still have to push through and have self-confidence for you to actually take the actions of the things that you now believe that you could possibly do. So self-doubt, super sneaky negativity that could definitely get in your way. Okay, so number 3 is complaining. Complaining. I talked about this recently on my TikTok, so if you don't follow me over there, at Sabrina Joy Perozzo, it's a hoot. I'm even more vulnerable on TikTok than I am on Instagram with my videos, and because I'm just there to show you that you don't have to feel any shame about anything you're going through. So anyway, and it's encouraging, motivational, whatever. So complaining, though, I did recently talk about this on TikTok, that complaining is the need for external validation. Have you ever thought about that? And I really presented it this way of wow, I was reading and it like just like all came together of like, yeah, complaining is external validation, because when you complain, you want others to agree, affirm, and validate that you are displeased with, like, with whatever you are displeased with is like acceptable and correct. So you want people to get on your side and be like, yeah, you're right. That's terrible. They shouldn't have done that to you. Blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. All your complaints, we affirm them, we validate them. Yes. And it's just so interesting. So, and I also was talking about how if you don't feel like you struggle with external validation, but if you can be honest with yourself enough and like admit that you struggle with complaining a lot, then you do struggle with external validation through that. It's so interesting. So, but a lot of times we don't think we're complaining because, complaining also is not venting. A lot of people get that confused. People think that they are venting when they're actually complaining, because venting includes asking permission to share first and problem solving after that. So you have to have both of those things. Complaining has neither of those things. Usually when we complain, we're just like, whoever is an open audience I can share my woes with, I will do that. And then you have no intention of actually making any change, creating any like problem solving solutions or any of that. You just want to like kind of like dump it all out, have people feel sorry for you, agree with you, affirm you, validate you, and then move right along. So, and it's just, it's so yucky. And again, you think that you're venting. So you think it's a healthy thing that you're doing by getting these things, quote unquote, off your chest, but you're really not. So that's definitely a sneaky negativity that can like creep in. And it's also important to note that complaining also prevents you from seeing the positive things in life, because you're always lamenting about all of this negative crap that continues to crop up in your life. And it's just lame. So super lame. Okay, number 4, we are trucking along. This is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode than normal, but it's an important list because it's good for you to be like reminded and more aware of these sneaky negativity things. Okay, so number 4 is trying to control everything. I suffer deeply from control issues, so I am right there with you if you also struggle from those things. But control issues are common to many, especially though people that struggle from perfectionism. Perfectionism is also like another like sneaky negativity thing that you can get really like wrapped up in and kind of be like, basically imprisoning yourself in this mindset that you need to be perfect, that everything has to line up in like a very specific way, or that it means nothing. It's like perfectionists like really can be like black and white thinkers where it's like all or nothing, right? And that just doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. Because honestly, you can only do the best that you can. And you might have this ideal of perfection, but it's usually like expectations that are too high to hit, because you already know in your mind that it's above what you can do, but you're trying to continue to shoot for the stars and you think that's admirable, but it's not. It's really not. It's a waste of time and energy, just to be honest with you. But back to controlling everything. You can only control yourself. To be honest, you really can. It's like, that's it. You can control your actions, your mindsets, your emotions, how you respond, how you react. That's it. That's absolutely it. Maybe you don't believe me, but it's true. Like, you may think that you've controlled other people, and maybe you have done that successfully with like, they're people pleasers, so that's why they're going to do what you tell them to do. Or it's like children where they like, they respect you and they want to honor you and do what you say. Or maybe it was even through manipulation. Like, I know that might be kind of a thing where you're like, no, of course it's not, Sabrina, but it might. It might. You might be dipping into the toe of manipulation and you don't even realize it. But regardless, you cannot control others. If you feel like you have successfully controlled others, it's because they're allowing you to do so. And a lot of people like that. A lot of people just like to have someone else be responsible so that they don't have to be responsible. And it's that victim mentality. So I would say outside of like raising children, because that is supposed to be a thing where you're like kind of like controlling them the most that you can to train them up and keep them safe and help them grow and be healthy and responsible adults eventually one day. So anyway, But still, you can only control yourself, right? Because sometimes our kids go off the rails in the store and it's just like, oh, wow, okay. But yeah, not others or what happens to or around us, right? There's so many crazy things that happen to us, especially these days. And that's out of our control. It just happens. And the desire to control stems from our own insecurities and fears of things not working out as planned, like believing that your way is like the only way or the best way. And so if it doesn't work out the way that you wanted it to, then you fear that it's not going to work out and that bad things are going to happen. And there'll be like repercussions and all of these like things, and that it'll look bad on you, and just like all of these feelings of insecurities and anxiety, and just feeling like you're not even sure what to do, and it's kind of like a meltdown situation that can sometimes happen. But we can't control everything. I will be honest with you. There are times where I wish that we could. It would make life easier, like 10 million times easier, just to be honest with you. But it's not possible. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I thought that I had the ability to control everything, and it burnt me out multiple times. So if you're in that boat too, and you just feel like you're always on the edge of burnout because you're trying to control every little thing, I encourage you to take a deep breath and take like 5 steps back. 5 steps back from whatever it is you are trying to control. Maybe not so far, like if you're, struggling to control a situation that you still need to be there to help oversee, but you know what I mean. Take a step back, widen your perspective, see it as it fully is, of like, okay, maybe you were trying to control this one thing, but if you widen your perspective, you'll see how many other things are influencing this thing from going off the rails or not being in your control, right? Have you ever thought about that? It might not fully have ever, even the tiniest bit, been in your control, because there's so many outside other external influences that you didn't see because you're so zeroed in on what you can do and how you factor in. But it's not always like that. A lot of times there are so many other things involved that we decide not to see because we don't want to see that wide out. We don't want to see what we can't do, what we feel like we can't accomplish, how more things are outside of our control, right? So trying to control everything, it's kind of like I feel like it can be like a sickness that we don't even realize that we have until we really take a look at ourselves and dive deep into self-awareness, and we're like, oh crap, this is a problem. So just consider that. Number 5, and the last one on our list, is assuming the worst all the time. I have talked to my therapist about this so many times. I'm sure hearing it, assuming the worst all the time, it doesn't seem like a really bad thing. You're like, oh, that doesn't seem like a sneaky negativity. It doesn't seem like it deserves to be on this list, Sabrina. But I'm here to tell you that it does. It absolutely does. Because if you, are always constantly worrying about what's going to happen next, you will never fully be able to have the joy that you were meant to have in your life. If you are always looking for the other shoe to drop, you will never be present enough to enjoy what is happening right now. And one of the most common things that people encourage you to do is live in the moment, live in the present. You can't live in the present if you're so caught up in what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future and being on the lookout for the worst things to happen. And there were many times in therapy I would ask my therapist, I'm like, man, I have such a hard time enjoying the moment and having happiness, and despite something really, really, really great happening, could get like a raise or a promotion, or, win something, or something really good falls into place, like complete like a goal, an accomplishment, an achievement. But I would never really revel in that joy or happiness, because it's like, okay, well, where's the bad thing? I grew up in chaos. And a lot of times when you grow up in chaos and things happening and feeling out of control and bad things happening constantly, you suffer from assuming the worst all the time, because you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, because you don't want to allow yourself to rest in the happiness, because you feel like you have to stay vigilant for whatever negativity, whatever bad thing is going to happen next, because that's the history of your life. That is the pattern that you're used to. And sometimes we don't know how to rest and be chill, so we'll create our own problems. Yes, we will create our own problems that need to be solved because we have to be constantly in motion, fighting all the things, because we don't know how to rest in happiness because no one ever taught us how, and we're always having to be on guard. It sucks, really, to be honest with you. And I feel like, this is definitely one of the sneakiest ones because you don't think it's a bad thing. You're like, oh no, I'm being vigilant. I'm staying on my toes. I'm being aware of what's happening around me so that I, can catch it, be on top of it, fight it when it comes. And despite being ready, well, what you think you're ready for, it's generally not what you expected, and you're not ready, and it was all for nothing. And maybe it kind of helped you a little bit, but not a lot and not enough to make a difference. So it kind of didn't matter if you were ready or not, because it was just something totally unexpected that happened and way later. So again, you wasted time not enjoying what was happening right now, which really sucks. There is also the loss of hope when you're always believing something bad is like around the corner. You run out of hope. You don't have hope that good things are going to happen because you're like, oh no, we just got to wait. Give it a little bit. Give it a few days. Give it a few weeks. There's something right around the corner. It's going to get us. It's exhausting, to be honest with you. There is no fully living your life with this type of negative mindset because you can't. You're not allowing yourself to. You're always concerned with what could be coming after you. So that really sucks. So it's definitely sneaky. It's a really sneaky negativity for us that can creep into our lives. For sure. So, but that is all 5 of the sneaky negativities that can creep into your life and try to control you and your emotions. Let me know if you want me to do more lists like this where I do combine things that I have talked about individually. I think I have talked about every single one of these individually at least once over like the last 2.5 years that I've done this show. But if you want me to go dive deeper into that, let me know in the anonymous topic survey. Let me know via email. Let me know on socials. Whatever you want. I would love to do that for you. Or an updated version of one that may have been done a long time ago. So either way, I'm here to help and serve you guys. But I really hope that this list has helped. And so thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, with me, Sabrina. This episode was a little shorter than normal, I understand, but hopefully it was still as helpful and as broken down as it needed to be a resource for you when you come across these things, and be aware and vigilant about these sneaky negative behaviors and mindsets. Don't forget to check the show notes below for where to sign up for the weekly newsletter, where to sign up or go join the Facebook community, where to follow me on social, send me an email, submit a topic suggestion, do all the things. But until next time, have a good one, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.